Next on ABC7's Good Morning El Paso Weekend, breaking details into our newsroom this morning. We continue to follow the killing of a Hatch officer, now linked to a murder earlier this year. We're breaking down the chain of events here in the borderland, starting with a traffic stop gone horribly wrong. And looking ahead, the bridge to nowhere comes down on El Paso West Side this weekend as TxDOT tries to get the Go 10 project back on track. Storm track weather, Steven.
Rain is in the borderland for some areas this morning, and more rain chances continue this afternoon. I'll have the latest.
This is all the news you need to start your Saturday, August 13th. ABC7's Good Morning El Paso Weekend starts right now.
Live, where news comes first. From the Mesilla Valley and Las Cruces to El Paso and the borderland. This is ABC7's Good Morning El Paso Weekend.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Andrew J. Polk. ABC7 breaking news coverage of a Hatch police officer shot and killed continues with brand new developments. Overnight, new information about the suspect that allegedly shot a Hatch police officer, Jose Chavez, are reportedly connected to a murder case in Ohio. The Ohio newspaper Chillicothe Gazette reports Jesse D. Haynes and James D. Nelson were the two arrested yesterday just outside of Hatch. ABC7 still waiting for confirmation from the sheriff's office in Doña County to confirm the men are wanted in Ohio. But the Chillicothe newspaper and other media outlets in Ohio are reporting the connection this morning, stating both men arrested yesterday outside Hatch are wanted for killing a 62-year-old man inside his own home. Theodore Timmons was found dead on July 25th. That nationwide manhunt for the Ohio murder suspects is now presumably over, but it took the death of a Hatch police officer to bring it to an end. As for the 33-year-old officer, Jose Chavez, the 2-year veteran of the department, died at University Medical Center in El Paso before his scheduled surgery late last night. He leaves behind a wife and 2 young children. This all began during a traffic stop, which turned into a high-speed chase. 3 people were shot: the officer, a carjacking victim, and a suspect. We sent our crews all over southern New Mexico and El Paso to bring you the latest on this story. From Las Cruces to Hatch to UMC here in El Paso, starting with our 4 o'clock newscast to all around-the-clock news crew overnight. The Doña County Sheriff's Office held a news conference last night. ABC7's Jerry Nahara has a timeline of events from our New Mexico mobile newsroom.
We're also learning Officer Chavez died right before going into surgery. Officials at the Doña Sheriff's Office say this incident spanned 4 hours and it put the lives of many residents in New Mexico in serious danger. We also have crime scene video you'll only see on ABC7. At 3:41, a Hatch police officer pulled a car over. During the stop, a passenger allegedly took off and fired shots at the officer. A responding officer who saw the shooting chased after the car.
Speeds were reportedly in excess of 100 miles an hour.
That's when the driver and passengers allegedly pulled into a rest stop near Radium Springs, where they abandoned the car.
And reportedly carjacked a red Chevrolet Cruze at the rest area and allegedly shot the driver of that car.
When the suspects fled the scene, law enforcement started the manhunt.
We had assistance from just about every police agency in this county, including air assistance from Border Patrol.
Doña Ana Sheriff's officials say the suspects then drove to a residence near Highway 185, where law enforcement used spike strips that caused the vehicle to crash, and the suspect ran into a home.
He briefly barricaded himself inside.
He eventually surrendered to police, and they also noticed he had a gunshot wound to the thigh. A short while later, 2 other suspects involved were caught and taken into custody.
We believe that those were the 2 additional suspects who were in the vehicle during the Hatch police officer's traffic stop.
We're also learning Officer Chavez was a 2-year veteran of the force. He left behind a wife and 2 kids. The condition of the carjacking victim is unknown at this time. The suspect is being treated for his wound and is under police surveillance. The 2 other suspects are in custody here at the Doña Ana Sheriff's Office. Reporting for ABC7, I'm Jerry Nahara.
Last night, U.S. Attorney Damon P. Martinez issued a statement on the death of Officer Jose Chavez. It reads in part, quote, "On behalf of the U.S. Attorney's Office and the entire federal law enforcement community, I want to express our deepest condolences to the family of Officer Jose Chavez and the men and women of the Hatch Police Department. Violence against law enforcement officers is unacceptable and cannot be tolerated. Officer Chavez's death underscores once again the real dangers that are routinely faced by those who protect and serve their fellow citizens. It reminds us that we are deeply indebted to our law enforcement officers for placing their lives on the line each and every day in order to preserve public safety." The New Mexico Attorney General also sends his condolences for Officer Chavez. Attorney General Hector Valderas sent this statement to ABC7 earlier this morning. All of New Mexico stands with the Chavez family, the Hatch Police Department, and Southern New Mexico after the horrific death of Officer Jose Chavez. We offer our prayers, thoughts, and condolences and stand ready to assist the family and our brothers and sisters in law enforcement in Doña Ana County. Las Cruces Police Chief Jaime Montoya is working with the governor of New Mexico to have flags flown at half staff for Officer Chavez. ABC7 will be following the story throughout the day. We'll update you once we learn anything else on our later newscasts and, of course, online at KVIA.com and on our social media. But switching to our storm track weather now, let's get your first forecast with storm track meteorologist Stephen Decatur. Good morning, Stephen.
Good morning, Andrew. Things are already getting busy out here in the borderland on the radar. Storms developing for areas in and around El Paso already. You can see we have been tracking that rain this morning towards the north of Las Cruces. It looks like it continues to weaken, really not moving all that much, just drifting southward very slowly. But if you notice in the last couple of frames here, some rain showers beginning to develop here in the lower valley and in close to El Paso. Here's a closer look at what we're watching. You can see in Juarez, just across the border, some thunderstorms developing this morning, and then we have more back off towards the west near Waco Tanks. This is all slowly working towards us, so we may get some rain within the next hour or so for parts of El Paso. Lower Valley also seeing down towards Fabin, some thunderstorms developing, little showers there. So we'll continue to monitor that this morning. Again, wet weather is in the possibility for the day. You can see currently starting off very pleasant though for El Paso and Las Cruces in the lower 70s, partly cloudy to mostly cloudy skies this morning. And those skies, those cloud cover, are really going to keep temperatures a lot cooler today. So here's what we're watching for you. Rain chances are going to continue this weekend, but then they are going to come to an end. Plus, temperatures are going to be below average. And again, we're going to be drying out. I'll have all those details coming up. Andrew?
All right, thanks, Stephen. Check back in just a bit. In the meantime, though, officials remain tight-lipped after several parole officers are now accused of tampering with evidence.
Do you work for the TDCJ? Are you, would you be willing to comment on the investigation?
No, sir.
You a TDCJ employee? Ma'am?
ABC7 spent yesterday afternoon outside the El Paso District Parole Office working to get you answers on the arrest of 5 parole officers and 1 substance abuse counselor. Oscar Nunez is facing 5 counts of record tampering. Sergio Galvan, 3. Luz Quiñones faces 2 counts. Jesus Lara, Cynthia Leon, and Jessica Ibarra all face 1 count. A spokesman from the TDCJ says several of them worked at the parole office for more than a decade. And the TDCJ says the 6 accused will not return to work and will most likely be fired. And El Paso police are not yet releasing the names of the 3 suspects who allegedly robbed a pawn shop, then led police on a chase for more than an hour. Officers first tweeted around 9:40 yesterday morning that the Cash America pawn shop had been robbed. It's on the 1900 block of Lee Trevino in East El Paso. 20 minutes later, police called for a DPS helicopter to help track down the man and 2 women after they were spotted by Montwood and Bobby Jones. Yellow tape was placed around the store as police investigated. The 3 were eventually found a couple of hours later and taken into custody. And a wife took the stand against her own husband in the murder trial of Alberto Mendiola. Mendiola is charged with murder in the 2014 shooting death of Army veteran Anthony Bowler during a barbecue in East El Paso. Mendiola's estranged wife described the scene as a murder that quickly turned into a scary hostage situation. She described how terrified she was after Mendiola allegedly shot through the back door of the house, killing Bowler, a man she had just met. She says Mendiola then kept her and her 4 children hostage for several hours. At one point, she says she thought he would kill himself. Medical examiner Dr. Mario Rascon is expected to take the stand in this case on Monday. And a Las Cruces man taking care of a friend's apartment while they were away is in the hospital after being stabbed. Investigators say he was attacked by this man, Gary Nico Swolowski. It happened Wednesday night on Lucero near North Main Street. Police say the 21-year-old victim was watching over this apartment when Swolowski knocked on the door, then allegedly stabbed him in the chest, back, arms, and legs. Swolowski allegedly made a run for it, but was arrested minutes later. And he served at many Army posts across the nation, but will now be laid to rest at Fort Bliss. Major General John Rossi, seen here talking at an event a while ago, died July 31st at the age of 55 at his on-post home in Alabama. General Rossi served at least 6 tours of duty here. His funeral mass begins this morning at 10 at the 1st Armored Division Chapel. A very large crowd is expected as he's laid to rest at noon at Fort Bliss National Cemetery. And drivers on the west side, brace for another day of bumper-to-bumper traffic. I-10 will be closed in both directions in West El Paso all day and night Sunday between Sunland Park and Executive. TxDOT crews are scheduled to knock down the Buena Vista Bridge. The closure begins at 3 a.m. Sunday and runs through 5 o'clock Monday morning. That bridge, also known as the Bridge to Nowhere, it was built in 1969, and TxDOT tells us it will take 26 hours to bring it down. District Engineer Bob Bielik says they'll use the same process used 2 years ago to bring down the Yandell overpass seen here in this YouTube video. They'll cut off the beams that are part of the steel structure, hook them up to a crane, and then cut them off using a blowtorch. Once the beams are down, the center columns will be the last to go. So why not just blow up the bridge?
You don't want that material going everywhere. And it's harder with a bridge to get it to implode because of the type of structure that a bridge is.
We're told if the entire bridge and other half of the Paisano Bridge are able to be brought down this weekend, that will put the Go 10 project back on track. Keeping students in school and on track to graduate. That's the mission behind a newly announced program to prevent students from dropping out in New Mexico. ABC7's Josie Otagon tells us about the early warning dropout prevention system. She reports from Doña Ana County and our New Mexico mobile newsroom.
This system will give us an additional piece of equipment in our tool belt.
An additional tool to help keep students across New Mexico in the classroom. Just this week, Governor Susana Martinez announced the expansion of the early warning dropout prevention system. The program tracks students' academics, discipline, and attendance throughout elementary, middle, and high school.
The program raises red flags if a student has failed any classes during middle or high school, or it keeps schools informed if students are not meeting certain graduation benchmarks, so that they can intervene early.
Right now with our student information system, we are able to track kids year to year.
But this program is different. It tells schools everything about a student's history, creating data that'll help teachers step in earlier.
Right now we can look at attendance, we can intervene for attendance, but we can't pull up a report which basically tells us alert.
The program started off as a pilot program at 17 schools in the last 2 years and targeted nearly 400 students who needed help. The system will now be available to all schools. Governor Martinez has also budgeted for 59 dropout coaches and social workers to help reduce truancy across the state.
We've got to catch them early. We can't wait till they're ready just to say, you know, I'm so behind, I can't make it.
The goal is higher student achievement, better opportunities for kids.
Josie Ortagon, ABC7.
Centennial and Oñate High Schools, New America School, Hatch Valley High School, and several other schools in the Gadsden school districts are already using the program. Another 32 will be implemented and announced this school year. And it's a story many of our viewers are talking about on social media. El Paso County Commissioners and the county judge closer to getting a big pay raise. Commissioners approved the increase at a meeting earlier this week. But as we've been reporting, commissioners tell us that they should not have to raise taxes this year. But how much should elected officials make? And what's a fair compensation for those working for you? That's what we'll be discussing tomorrow night on ABC7 Extra. Our guests will be Commissioner David Stout, County Judge Veronica Escobar, and Attorney James Montoya, who reviews City Council salaries. Catch that beginning at 10:35 right here, only on ABC7. And if your child isn't already back in school, they're likely headed back in just a little over a week. And New Mexico health officials are helping families in the land of enchantment prepare for the big day. The New Mexico Department of Health is offering free shots for kids going back to school. It's holding immunization clinics across the state called Got Shots. Thursday, dozens of parents in Las Cruces took advantage of the free event, which was at the Mesilla Valley Mall. While many parents were happy to get their kids vaccinated, understandably, the children were less than thrilled.
Well, I'm scared for her because I know it's going to hurt her, and so I was just holding her, and I know she's going to cry, so I'm just holding her and loving her so she feels safe. I try to explain to them.
Mark your calendars. Additional clinics will be held next week on Monday, August 15th, and Tuesday, August 16th. All you need to provide is a copy of the child's shot record and a health insurance card. And New Mexico is looking to keep students in school with that new program. And major changes coming to the Northeast with groundbreaking of the new Northgate Transfer Center. It is 8:14. We're going to take a look using our ABC7 traffic systems right now, see what the traffic is doing for us this morning. Traffic flow is moving along pretty well this morning. You can see down there on the bottom right-hand corner a little bit of stoppage near I-10. And looking like Mesa is having a little bit of slowdowns, but no major problems to report across the borderland for right now. And storm track weather, Stephen.
Some showers developing already in the lower valley. We'll take a radar tour coming up.
Thanks for watching ABC 7, where news comes first.